I think everyone went into that Detroit game kind of weary of what this defense could look like. The defense played great, only allowing 14 points. I think, towards the end of the game, you could see the guys are kind of worn out a little bit where they finally committed to the run. They kind of hammered away and got down to get that go-ahead score at the end of the game. But for the most part, the defense played admirably. I mean, they were playing without a $20 million plus dollar guy in the middle of that defense. When you're not playing with a guy who the cap is allotted to, and he doesn't play in that game, it's a big deal. And a lot of guys stepped up. Mike Dana stepped up. A lot of these guys did. But with Chris Jones coming back, and I know in our live stream we kind of talked about top 10 potential, but I don't even care about top 10 potential. But how much better do you expect this defense to look maybe this week or maybe not this week, then 2 weeks from now? But based on what you saw last week, the potential of how these guys can rise, the second-year jump of Karlaftis, King Felix looking pretty solid. How much better do you expect this defense to look with Chris Jones in the lineup, with everyone playing the way they are playing right now?
I mean, I think they're going to look significantly better. And so as good as they looked last week, I think they'll look even better with Chris Jones in there. Because then all of a sudden what you do is you freed up King Felix, you free up George, you free up the linebackers to make more plays. The secondary can go out there and play a lot more looser than what they were and get into wide receivers just getting their tails. This is what they can do. And so also, too, it frees Spags up to make plays. And he called a brilliant game last week. He did. And they executed everything to a T, exactly how it was all drawn up. And so this week, I think you'll start to hit home because you'll see a much better offense in Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars than it was with the Lions. I think Lions are a good offensive football team, but I don't think they're nowhere near where the Jaguars are. I just don't. They don't have that many weapons. And so when we talk about Christian Kirk, Etienne, we talk about Zay Jones, we talk about Ingram, we talk about Calvin, right? Ridley, and we talk about all these guys. Did I miss anybody? Because that's how many guys they got. They got a lot of guys everywhere, right?
You got the top ones.
Yeah, that's more than enough. That's more than enough. So they got plenty of weapons to do things around it. But it's going to be a good challenge. It's going to be a good challenge for our defense going against this juggernaut of an offense this week, and especially down there in Jacksonville too. So I'm waiting to see it. I'm waiting for Chris to come out here off this holdout and come and make some plays, right? Come make some plays, big fella. Okay? You got your money. Let you in the game. Maybe get you, somewhere around about 65% of the snaps, maybe 70. Go make some noise now, okay? You even said it. You said he made some of these things. He took some of these things personal, and he should. You should take them personal because he realized, like, man, some of these jokers don't love me like that. They don't. They don't know what I'm trying to do. But hey, whatever. But we know right now that this is a tough contest for the Chiefs. It's a tough contest for the Chiefs, and offensively, going for the offensive side of the ball. We know we need to go ahead and do better on the wide receiver catching the football. We know we need to do a much better job blocking, run blocking in the offensive part of the game scheme. We're going to have Travis Kelce back, so that's going to open up a whole lot of different things. And I'm going to bring this up, too. Another thing that we didn't do really well against was our special teams. I don't want to leave them out of it. I don't want to leave them out of it all because special teams is a weapon. And so we need all the things encompassing, to play well to beat this Jags team.
Yeah. We'll get to the offense in a second as far as what Kelce brings based on the lackluster performance last week. But sticking with Chris Jones, so with this week 2 matchup specifically, you talk about their offensive firepower, but we know without the O-line, those offensive weapons don't mean anything really. Brandon Scherff, they're starting a left guard out. Well, he's possibly going to be out this week. Talking about that, and also that they have some of the other guys on their O-line are kind of banged up. This week, obviously, having Chris Jones back against a banged up offensive line, that's huge, obviously. But and also you talk about L'Jarius Sneed, who barely played barely did camp all throughout the offseason. He played last week full go. It's another week for him to get healthy, 10 days off to get healthy. So, the defense is starting to take shape. We will get Amenahu back in a few weeks. But what do you think Spags needs to dial up this week in order to kind of put pressure on? We kind of talked about during our live stream, but what do you anticipate him as far as putting pressure on this offense to make Trevor Lawrence kind of either are we going to try to stack the box to make Trevor Lawrence make plays to these guys on the outside and kind of have him test our corners, or I mean, what kind of offensive game plan do you see coming this week against Trevor Lawrence?
I think it's what you had to bring pressure, and I think what you do is you give him different looks about guys coming to the line of scrimmage and seeing he's making a count, who's coming now, and back some guys out. And so what you do is you just kind of put him in a situation where he's thinking a lot. Okay, you're showing him one thing and doing something else. And Spags is going to do a good job of that. But I think that's one thing that you have to do with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence does a great job of getting the ball out of hands. He gets rid of it quick, and he's throwing darts. He's got some really good receivers who can catch the football. Not only that, but they can make yards after the catch. So one of the things you have to do, and I've seen this in the game, is you got to get your hands up too, right, in the lane. That's another thing. I'm sure they're going to reiterate that during practice. Like, hey, look, get in your passing lane. Get your hands up in the passing lane. Let's be physical on those guys up there when they're running the routes. So that's going to be the thing. And the main thing that you have to do, you have to stop the running game. Can't get Etienne start running, because then all of a sudden that opens up the door for everything. And once that joker start running and going, because he don't go down easy, it could be a long, long day. But the thing is, if you bring some blitz off the edge, a lot of pressure off the edge, up the middle, Chris gets push, which is always a tough thing to do, okay, for a quarterback to deal with. It's pressure in their face. And Chris is coming out with fresh legs to get pressure, okay? And hopefully what it will also do is, I hope it'll pick up the spirits in the D-line room also, right? Because you got your leader back, okay? And let them all feed off of that. So I think that's the key to stopping Trevor Lawrence, is kind of bringing pressure, keep him uncomfortable, get him moving his feet out of the pocket. He's good running the football with his feet, but also, too, just staying on him, staying at him. And I think that'll be the key to be successful this week against him.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing they have. They have the ground game with the mix of Etienne and Tank Bigsby, their rookie running back, and then obviously their receivers on the perimeter. Those are two things that kind of stuck out last week. Obviously, the last drive of the game, because we kind of pretty much they contained their rushing attack last week with Montgomery and Gibbs. But it wasn't until the last drive they kind of committed to it. But before that, when they were moving the sticks, Goff and that Lions passing attack, was the middle of the field and the crossing routes. What did you see specifically from our defense that was allowing us to give up a lot of those crossing routes in the middle of the field?
So what allows the middle field to open up is when you're worried about the run. That's part of it. So if a team is gassing you, linebackers are coming up a little bit faster, right? They're holding their position because they're thinking, they got some great runners up front. They got a great offensive line playing against the Lions last week. We got to watch the run, okay? They got two talented backs back there that did a great job. So a lot of that is just kind of the play action, and they did a lot of that too. A lot of play action that keeps linebackers' feet in the mud. So I think that was part of it, to just kind of give up for that middle man. But you're gonna have that issue this week. The thing is, the difference is, if you got somebody up front who could take double teams and you could hold all that up, now you can kind of sit back a little bit. You can keep guys off of you. The linebackers last week played phenomenal. I think they played phenomenal. It's going to be very key for those guys to get back in passing lanes to stop everything that's, like you said, over the middle, and just kind of getting those little curl routes, that area, curl, hook route, spacing part of it. But yeah, I think a lot of it had to do with the combination of the running game affecting the passing game that opens up the middle because you're trying to stop the run. That's what it is.
Yeah. Of the guys, they have so many different talents. You mentioned Ridley, Kirk, Zay Jones, and Evan Ingram. I mean, gosh, they go so deep with the receivers. Of those guys, who are you more concerned about game playing for this week?
Oh, man.
Because it seemed like we had a hard time with Sam Laporta last week, their tight end. I mean, he had a pretty big game for his first career game.
I was going to say Ingram. That he's a guy that you have to make sure it doesn't go off on you, because he's very talented. And so he's going to go against our safeties, and he can get in that middle. He can make some moves. I think the corner's going to be pretty good against what they have out there. They did a pretty good job with them kind of last year, kind of be in their face, challenge them a little bit. But the tight end, though, if he starts hitting you over the head, that's a different ball game. And we know Ingram can put some numbers up, man. He's very fast, got good hands. He can make guys miss. He gets in this route fast. You could tell. It's funny because you could tell when he's going out for a pass. I watched the game with Indianapolis, and I knew every single time he was going out for a passing route. You could tell because that joker ain't gonna block nobody. He ain't chopping his hands on anybody in the running game. He ain't gonna do that. As soon as that sucker man got the pass, we talking about a little, our little joke we was talking about having making noises.
Mm-hmm.
That's like he's out the gate quick. So, but yeah, I think that's going to be the key, man. Ingram is like the sneaky type of dude that you gotta watch, that you can't let him start killing you.
Yeah, and hopefully they make more priority on the tight end, knowing what Laporta did to us last week.
It's going to fall on Cook and them guys. It's going to fall on them. It's going, and Reed. It's going to fall on them guys. And then linebackers too. So, yeah. It's that middle.
Yeah. Whew. I have Ingram in a few of my fantasy leagues, so if he has a good game, all right, but not too good of a game.
Yeah, you have a good game and still lose. I want you losing. I want total want you losing, but you can have have a couple yards here and there.
Yeah,
get a little point.
Maybe 7 catches. It's a PPR league, so it's 7-8 catches, 25 yards. There you go. It's a 10 in fantasy. I'm fine with that for my tight end. Hi everybody, thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.